Chris Fenning, Effective Meetings. Great results, less pain, every time. Let's be honest. We've all sat through a meeting that should have been an email. In fact, nearly half of workers say meetings make them less productive. And when you add up the time, energy, and salaries in the room, the cost of a poorly planned meeting can climb fast. Sure, tech tools can help with notes and reminders, but they can't define your purpose, pick the right people, or speak up when things go off track. That's still on you. The upside is that with a few simple habits, you can make meetings shorter, clearer, and more useful, whether you're leading or just attending. In this blink, you'll learn how to lock in your topic, purpose, and desired outcome before sending a single invite. You'll discover how to bring the right people together, plan meaningful activities, and choose a time and place that match the work at hand. Once the meeting's underway, you'll know how to keep things on track, wrap up with clarity, and follow up fast. And along the way, you'll also pick up smart tactics for hybrid calls, status updates, and even those meetings you wish you could skip. Let's get started. Define your topic, purpose, and output before the invite. That moment when you're sitting there thinking, "Why are we even here?" is usually a clear sign that someone skipped the prep. To stop wasting everyone's time, there are 7 elements that need to be nailed down before sending out a meeting invitation. Topic, purpose, output, activities, people, duration, location, and the invitation itself. Let's start with the basics. What's the topic? What's the purpose? And what output are you trying to achieve? The topic is the main thing you'll be discussing. The purpose explains why you're in the meeting in the first place. Ideally, something action-driven like making a decision or solving a problem. And the output is what you'll walk away with. A plan, a list of next steps, or a firm decision. If you can't define these 3 in one sentence each, don't call a meeting. If your only goal is to share information, perhaps an email would suffice. However, there's also such a thing as having too much to discuss. Meetings with multiple topics often lose focus. The first item tends to dominate, pushing the others aside. So prioritize. Start with the topic that's most urgent or widely relevant. Continue with the same logic for other topics. You might not cover everything, but the essential work will get done. Next, choose your activities, the methods that drive the meeting forward, like discussions, decision matrices, or surveys. Match each activity to the outcome you're aiming for. If your goal is to reach a decision, make sure there's time for discussion and evaluation before voting. Also think about the tools you'll need, especially if some attendees are remote. Make sure every participant can fully engage. Now, turn to the people. Only invite those who help achieve the meeting's goal or who genuinely need the output. Extra attendees increase cost, dilute focus, and slow everything down. Beyond 7 people, decision-making gets less efficient. So before you send that invitation, ask yourself, does this person bring essential knowledge, decision-making power, or help deliver the result? For important sessions, check with key people in advance that the topic, purpose, and people are clear and correct. Make sure activities and people actually fit. For example, if you're doing open brainstorming, avoid including senior leaders who might inhibit candid ideas. If someone only needs to approve the final result, they don't need to attend. Decide who will take notes, what level of detail is required, and whether you'll use auto notes or recording. Set the right duration by working backward from your activities. Sketch out a basic agenda and add time estimates. Include space for introductions, transitions, and wrap-up. Then, choose the shortest realistic length that still allows room for unexpected questions or longer discussions. Pick a location that supports the work. If you're voting with physical sticky notes, you need everyone in the room. For hybrid formats, ensure the tech enables equal participation. Finally, send a clear, concise invitation. In the subject line and message body, include the topic, purpose, output, and any prep required. Vague invitations lead to poor attendance, confusion, and wasted time. Don't assume people will read carefully. Follow up with key participants if needed. If you receive a vague invitation you didn't organize, ask for the topic, purpose, and output, or decline with a short reason. A strong invitation sets expectations and helps everyone arrive prepared to contribute. Start your meeting with topic, purpose, and output. Once your meeting is planned, the next step is starting it well, and that only takes 2 minutes. There are 2 things to do: introduce the meeting and validate with participants. Begin by stating the topic, purpose, and output, TPO, along with how long the meeting will take. If you've written a clear invitation, you already have everything necessary to make this introduction. Read it out or summarize it briefly. Treat the invitation's TPO as your starter agenda. If a formal agenda is required, list each topic with its purpose, output, and a segment lead. Or frame each item as a question and invite additions in advance. And if the meeting's relevance isn't obvious, add 1 sentence explaining why it matters to the people in the room. For meetings with multiple topics, start by outlining how many items you'll cover and what each one is for. Then, introduce each topic with its own TPO before moving into discussion. Save time by skipping the go around the table ritual. Instead, quickly say who's in the room, their role, and why they're there. Structure your agenda so partial participants, those who only need to join for certain items, can leave once they've contributed. Let them know this upfront. If they can't leave, keep unrelated sections brief. Follow the inverse time rule. The fewer people a topic involves, the less time you spend on it. Always validate with participants before diving in. Ask if everyone is clear on the purpose and output, and confirm you have the right people. If someone isn't needed, allow them to leave. If extra people join, check their relevance and ask non-essential folks to step out. If the meeting has multiple topics, ask whether the planned order makes sense. As a participant, if clarity is missing a few minutes in, ask for the specific purpose and intended output. Finally, if someone arrives late, don't stop the meeting. Keep going and give a quick recap at a natural break. If a key person is missing, check whether they're joining and decide whether to wait, adjust the plan, or move ahead and finalize decisions later. During meetings, stay on track, keep time, and steer to the output. We left without covering the upgrade plan. That's how software developer Sam summed up a recent meeting, one that started off track and never recovered. Nobody steered the discussion. The result? An hour wasted and another future meeting needed. Once a meeting begins, your focus should be on 2 things: keeping time and making progress toward the agreed output. At every stage, ask, are we getting closer to our goal, and are we doing it fast enough? Start by stating the output and the available time, then monitor both as you go. At regular checkpoints, compare time elapsed with what's left to do. If you're behind, adjust, speed things up, cut tangents, or reshuffle priorities. Share time updates to keep everyone aligned. In multi-topic meetings, do this per item, ending each section with a recap of key decisions, actions, and next steps. When discussions drag, a simple adjustment script helps. Restate the output, highlight the gap, suggest a fix, and confirm agreement. If a better topic emerges mid-meeting, you can change the goal. Just make that decision explicit and decide what happens to the original purpose. Distractions are inevitable. Some slow things down, like storytelling spirals, repeated points, or deep dives into technical detail. Others knock the meeting off track entirely. Your role is to assess whether the conversation is still serving the overall output. If not, gently refocus or park the issue as an action with an owner and date. If energy dips, try drawing in quieter voices, switching activities, or asking for quick feedback. In creative work, allow wider exploration while still tracking time and progress. Disruptions also happen. Handle repeat interrupters by stepping in early and redirecting firmly but politely. Tactfully cut long-winded speakers and balance dominant voices by actively inviting others. In conflict, stay neutral, encourage respectful input, assess relevance, and offer structure. If needed, take it offline. And don't forget to take notes. Assign someone or use a tool and focus on what matters: decisions, actions, open questions, and next steps. A full transcript isn't needed, but a clear record of outcomes always is. Ending on time with a wrap-up shows respect and professionalism. Anything else? These two simple words, dropped at the end of a seemingly finished meeting, can make the difference between an efficient wrap-up and another 30 minutes spent on a brand new topic. It's one of the quickest ways to derail an otherwise effective meeting. A strong finish is just as important as a strong start. Without one, even a well-run meeting can leave people confused, frustrated, or behind schedule. That's why you should always protect the last 5 minutes, longer if the meeting runs over an hour, for a clear, structured wrap-up. The wrap-up doesn't need to be complicated. First, make sure you've actually left time for it. Then, follow 6 simple steps. Start by summarizing the main points. Then, confirm whether the meeting achieved its output. Recap any decisions made and actions agreed on. Be specific about who's doing what and by when. Next, state what happens after the meeting, beyond individual tasks. If the output isn't complete, explain how and when it will be. Then, thank everyone for their time and contributions. Handled properly, these final steps take just a few minutes. But if you let a last-minute tangent take over, those minutes disappear. Even worse, rushing the wrap-up or skipping it entirely can damage your credibility and lead to missed actions or forgotten decisions. Equally important, end on time. This depends on clear purpose, the right people and activities, steady focus and time checks, and a protected wrap-up. Overrunning time messes up your schedule, delays everyone else, and builds resentment. It's also unfair, damages your reputation, and creates a culture of lateness. You also lose the moral high ground to complain when others overrun. So if time's almost up but discussion is still going, speak up. A simple, "let's wrap so we can finish on time," usually works. And if you ever have to choose between finishing the output or finishing on time, choose time, unless it's urgent and participants agree to stay. Never assume your meeting matters more than whatever's next on their calendar. A clean, on-time ending leaves people clear on what was achieved, what's next, and glad they came. After meetings, share notes and outputs, then follow up. After a 2-hour design review, the team had agreed on dozens of product changes and felt confident about meeting a tight schedule. But 2 days later, no one had the list of updates. The note-taker had gone on vacation, and the work stalled. It's a perfect example of how a meeting's value can vanish if you don't act afterward. Your work doesn't stop when the clock does. To make a meeting count, you need to share the output and notes, then follow up on tasks and next steps. Sharing matters because decisions and plans are useless if they don't reach the people who need them. Notes keep everyone accountable and prevent confusion about who's doing what. Send the output and notes to attendees, and anyone else affected, within an hour if you can. Keep them short and practical. Confirm the final output, list the topics covered, include or link to any documents, and clearly record questions, actions, and decisions. Every action needs an owner and a deadline. Skip this only in rare cases. Celebrations, no actionable outcomes, outputs implemented during the meeting, or confidential sessions. Once that's done, follow up. Check progress on tasks, chase unanswered questions, and send short reminders or updates. And be sure to adapt your tone to the audience. What works for a teammate may differ from what's right for an executive. When you share clearly and follow up consistently, you lock in accountability and keep momentum alive. The meeting's outcomes get used, and your team moves forward instead of circling back. Special types of meetings and your meeting sweet spot. There are two types of meetings that require a special mention: virtual/hybrid meetings and status update meetings. In virtual or hybrid meetings, distractions are everywhere, so be explicit about the topic, purpose, and output, and watch participant tiles for drifting attention. Use your platform's tools, polls, breakout rooms, shared docs, whiteboards, to keep people involved. Be tech ready. Learn the features, keep a short troubleshooting guide handy, and run quick pre-flight tests before important calls, especially after software updates. Let partial participants leave once their item is done. A cameras-on norm helps presence, with clear exceptions: partial participants, sensitive locations, off-hours time zones, weak connections, and religious or cultural observances. Keep activities equally accessible for everyone. Shorten online sessions, and if you exceed an hour, build in a 10-minute break each hour. Some meetings are just harder to love, like the status update. Too often they're long, vague, and irrelevant for most attendees. So start by asking, does this really need to be a meeting? If the answer is yes, define exactly what information you want and stick to a simple structure. Preview the topics, ask for the leader's priorities first, then start with items that affect the whole group. Collect updates and related impacts in advance. Limit each person to 3 points, ordered by their breadth and importance. Encourage people to describe impact in terms of effort and outcome rather than jargon. And imply the inverse time rule. The fewer people a topic affects, the less time it gets. Quick 2-minute issues can be resolved on the spot. Anything else should become an action item and move off the agenda. Finally, remember this: effective meetings find the sweet spot between structure and flexibility. Too much control turns you into a tyrant. Too little makes you a chaotic observer. Adapt your style to the context, audience, and purpose. You don't need to follow the plan rigidly, but you do need to keep the group focused on achieving the output. That balance is what makes meetings shorter, clearer, less frustrating, and, quite simply, effective. In this Blink to Effective Meetings by Chris Fenning, you've learned how to make meetings shorter, clearer, and more useful. That starts with one simple rule. Don't call a meeting unless you can clearly define the topic, purpose, and output. From there, invite only the people who truly need to be there. Match your activities to the goal, and send a clear, focused invitation. Opening your meeting with a quick reminder of the plan helps set direction from the start. Keep the group on track by watching the time, steering toward outcomes, and managing distractions as they come up. Always finish with a short wrap-up that confirms what was decided, what's next, and who's doing what. And afterward, be sure to follow up quickly to lock in accountability and keep momentum going. When you apply these habits consistently, meetings stop draining your time and start delivering results. That's the real benefit of running effective meetings. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.